agreement between the City of Pueblo, Colorado Municipal Corporation, and Pueblo County, the political subdivision of the state of Colorado, relating to construction, operation, and maintenance of a limited access roadway, fencing, trailhead drainage, and other associated improvements within Honor Farm Park and open space, and approving the mayor to execute the easement agreement on behalf of the city. Introduced May 13th, 2024 by Councilor Regina Maestri.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Mr. Hayes, we have a staff report.
Mr. President, members of council, good evening again. The ordinance before you approves an easement agreement between the city and the county related to the Medal of Honor roadway project that goes through the city's Honor Farm area. The easement addresses all aspects of the granting of the use of the land, maintenance, operation of the roadway, stormwater improvements along the route as well. That concludes my report. I'll take any questions you've got.
Thank you for your report. This is a public hearing. Is there anyone here wishing to speak in favor of this ordinance? Please just state your names and...
Thank you. Sabina Genesio, Pueblo County Government.
Gary Rosso, I'm also with Pueblo County.
Mr. President, members of council, again, my name is Sabina Genesio. I'm the Pueblo County Manager, and I report directly to the Board of County Commissioners. And we're here today to ask for council's support of the passage of this easement, and also want to thank council, the mayor's office, and city staff who have been working with us on this project for several years. It's one of the most significant projects that the county has in front of it, and is a partnership with the city to bring forward one of the most impactful economic development projects of our time. And I don't want to say of our lifetime, I'm hoping to say it's more of our decade, right? Because we want more of these to happen. In 2021, Pueblo County contracted with Summit Economics to provide a report to anticipate and project what this project would do for the economy of Pueblo. And it stated, and again, this was in 2021, so I can only anticipate that the numbers have increased, but it stated that the public investment for Medal of Honor, as well as the detention project, is expected to lead to a private investment of, on average, $32 million annually. After the public investment is made, with $21 million of that being net new private investment annually. Additionally, the present value, again at that time, of the additional sales tax and other taxes generated from this project would be over $71 million in taxes to the county and over $60 million to the city during the 25-year span of the model that the economists used. So again, this is one of the most catalytic projects that are in front of both the city and the county, and it's very important that we are able to move forward with this project without further delay. And the reason for the concern about the delay is that there are different cost implications that would be impacted by the taxpayer if this project is delayed. For example, Pueblo County is currently contracted with a local vendor to build the Boulevard Extension project. And again, this project will connect Pueblo West to Pueblo Boulevard. Any delays in that contract could generate a delay claim and result in a potential request for a change order, which will cost the taxpayers additional money because this was an additional cost that wasn't budgeted for. Additionally, we have specific benchmarks and requirements, one being bringing the utilities forward by a specific deadline. And if that doesn't happen, the county can face up to $13,000 per day in penalties, which again is a significant additional increase in cost to the taxpayers because of potential delays. So the county commissioners know that there is an unresolved issue that needs to be discussed related to some assets, some city assets on the Honor Farm property, and would very much like to have a conversation with city council, perhaps in a joint meeting, to just sit down, walk through the issues, and find a solution, because I know both governing bodies can do that, and then we can move forward with whatever that solution is. I would be welcome to reach out to the mayor's office and get that scheduled very quickly. And again, I think that having a joint meeting with city council and the county commissioners together to just iron out these details, because I understand that it is an important asset of the cities, again, on the Honor Farm property that needs to be resolved. And again, this is just such an economic catalyst for our both city and county. It's such a win-win. It also impacts Pueblo West. It impacts Pura because of the opportunity to create some additional TIF areas. So this is very much a win for the community, a humongous impact, if I can use such a general term, for our town. The results of the development in this area will generate opportunity for business owners. It'll create an opportunity for an alternate route out of Pueblo West. In the event that traffic needs to be routed, it'll impact and reduce congestion. It is very much a safety factor as well. But on the other side, on a positive note, it will provide the public an alternative route to go to the reservoir, and also for folks in Pueblo West to come into the city to shop and go to work every day. So again, this is one of the most impactful projects the city and county are working on. Again, and we thank you for your collaborative efforts so far that, on this project, because it's been a couple years in the making. And we would just really like to cross the finish line, get this easement approved so that we can move forward and not risk any additional financial penalties with delays, and work together to find a solution on the one outstanding internal item between the city and the county.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this ordinance?
I was just here.
Your moral support?
Council member, moral support, but to see if you had any questions on the agreement.
Let us get
itself.
through this hearing, and then if we have questions, we'll call you back up. Is there anyone wishing to speak against this ordinance? Just come on down. Just state your name and
Hi, I'm Cheryl Spinuzzi, and thank you, Councilman, for hearing this opposition. I'm here as a friend of Sky Corral RC Club and oppose the passage of the easement as presented without mitigation for a loss to Sky Corral RC Club. The Honor Farm Park and Open Space Master Plan, written in 2007, states on page 4, under Purpose of Master Plan, the purpose of the plan is to develop a development and implement strategy for a variety of recreational uses, as well as for the long-term protection of open space now and in the future as it anticipates growth in and around the Pueblo community. Working under the conditions of the conservation easement agreement with the state of Colorado, the master plan will provide guidelines for the responsible management and use of the land. The plan will determine and balance appropriate uses of the property and provide for the protection and preservation of open space areas. Page 9, under the Sky Corral Radio Control Park, it states, the potential alignment of the Joe Martinez roadway between Pueblo West and City of Pueblo could impact the southwest corner of the current lease area. The roadway alignment may require the relocation of some of the RC airplane runways and associated facilities. If these facilities are required to be relocated, they will be constructed as part of the mitigation requirements for the roadway project. Any new location for the runways and facilities will need to be carefully coordinated to allow for the proper distances for runways and clearances from private residents, roadways, and power lines. On November 12, 2007, Pueblo City Council approved and adopted ordinance number 7678, an ordinance approving and adopting a master plan for the City of Pueblo's Honor Farm Park and open space property. I was surprised to hear a person state that city ordinances are many times not enforced as written, with changes being made without City Council modification or approval. And I hope this is a false statement. The new roadway also eliminates any possibility of their club expansion. On Friday, July 29, 2022, Brian Caruso and I met with Tanis Mansau and Kareem Aliyu, I mess up his name, project manager with the Pueblo County Engineering. Brian Caruso, who is an engineer and president of Sky Corral, discussed how the proposed Joe Martinez Road extension would impact their roadways. They agreed at that time to keep Brian in the planning loop and consider the impact to Sky Corral. We asked Tanis to present the problem to the county commissioners. and include costs of mitigation for moving the runways in their initial costs. Even though they agreed to keep Brian informed about roadway engineering, they did not. Again, this is July of 2022. Subsequently, we have met with Dennis Flores, February 8th of 2023, Nick Gradishar, March 24th, 2023, Zach Swearingen, August 4th, 2023, Dennis Flores again, September 27th, 2023, Daniela Escobar, January 6th of 24, and Heather Graham, May 7th of 24. Mayor Graham gathered all the information and asked various departments, including the legal department, to investigate. We are here with the deadline looming for approval of an easement agreement. Sky Corral has made every effort for 2 years to protect their club, honor the city ordinance number 7678, and find an equitable solution. My personal belief is that mitigation is due the club, hopefully paid for by the county. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to speak in favor, against this ordinance? You're not in favor, come on. Against. Come on. That was my fault. I tend to confuse everybody and myself.
Do I have to press the button here? We're good? Okay. Good evening, Council and Mayor Graham. My name is Brian Caruso. I'm the current president of Sky Corral RC Field and began flying radio-controlled aircraft at the age of 9. Sky Corral was established in 1970 and was relocated to the Honor Farm in 1975 with the city of Pueblo funding and installing 2 asphalt runways out on the Honor Farm property. I've worked in the field of facilities management, engineering, capital construction, and planning and execution of dozens of projects over 30 years, and I continue to do so. Approximately 3 years ago, we heard the new Medal of Honor Boulevard was possibly going to receive funding. The only reference document we possessed at that time, as Ms. Spinuzzi mentioned, was the 2007 master plan. With that in hand, by the way, we had Sky Corral membership as part of the master plan committees back in 2007 to provide their input and guidance on the airfield out there and airspace. From that point forward, numerous discussions and meetings were conducted to again to share our airspace concerns and provide education to Pueblo County staff and commissioners regarding the types of aircraft flown at our field, which ranges from sport aircraft to large pattern competition aircraft to extremely complex giant military aircraft to very large and very complex turbine-powered jet-fueled jet aircraft. Many of these aircraft are purchased as kits, with the larger planes taking up to 2 years or so to complete. These aircraft are not toys, but rather sophisticated aircraft containing sophisticated electronic control systems, gyros, various fuel or power systems, which include electric or battery, nitro or oil, gasoline, and jet fuel. Many of these planes reach speeds of 120 miles an hour, with the turbine jets reaching speeds of 160 mile an hour plus. And to share what that is in fast speed, that's 230 feet per second. Therefore, airspace clearance becomes of paramount importance to maintain safe flight, protect surrounding areas, including roads, people, and homes. Since we were never part of any design discussions, we obtained the theoretical road layout by us manually obtaining field layout stakes for the new road and integrating these points into a Google Earth document. From our drawings, it became evident that airspace clearances from our 2 runways to the new road were in conflict with airspace clearance guidelines as published by the Academy of Model Aeronautics, which is our governing organization. Again, these airspace issues were shared with Pueblo County commissioners and their project management staff. Our airspace concerns were finally validated upon the receipt of the easement request for the new road. The final design of the Medal of Honor road layout, as depicted on the Clark Land Survey drawings, indicate that the road is placed approximately 950 feet from the west end of our east-west runway, or 1,225 feet from the center of that runway to the edge of the new road, and approximately 275 feet from the end of our southeast diagonal runway, or about 550 feet from the center of that runway out to the edge of the road. These distances are critically closer than the AMA guidelines for our field for the types of aircraft flown. The AMA recommends 2,000 feet from the center of the runway, projecting in a parallel line outward plus additional 500 feet on the end. So center of a runway, take the middle, 2,000 feet this way, 2,000 feet that way, with a 500-foot buffer on both sides. The current design that was provided to me is less than 50% of the guideline airspace clearance on the east-west runway and about 78% short of the guidance on our diagonal runway. Pueblo County has stated that their new road is simply creating an inconvenience to our ability to fly, and the runway to road clearance distances are okay. I find this comment to be extremely troubling given all the information provided to them over the past 2 years. With the education on the speeds, type of aircraft being flown, safety concerns, and very specific direction from the AMA Safety Code of Conduct, which clearly states that pilots will not fly over unprotected people, vehicles, or houses. This matter is not only a safety issue, but one of common sense. It appears Pueblo County has already executed their contract with their civil contractor for the road, and yet there are still design issues that need to be resolved and could have been resolved a long time ago. Our requested field relocation cost is approximately 1% of the total Medal of Honor project published contract amount. If the Sky Corral field relocation effort, as suggested in prior meetings with Pueblo County, could be integrated into the existing Medal of Honor scope of work, there should be numerous opportunities to reduce the total invested cost for our relocation given Siete Construction's economy of scale. They're a big company. Until the aforementioned issues are resolved, I'm opposing the approval of the easement request before Pueblo City Council.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this ordinance? Did I say against? I'm very tired.
Okay.
This
We'll try
is
to keep that.
Is there anyone wishing to speak against this ordinance?
Yes.
Thank you.
My name is Larry Osborne. I have owned and operated a business in Pueblo with my father since 1951. I retired in 2015. Belonged to the Sky Corral Club since 1971. I would just like to say that the Sky Corral has been very pleased to have furthered the careers of numerous people, including airline pilots, military pilots, people associated with aviation in particular. Our members go over the entire gamut of age and occupation. And as far as I'm concerned, I would like to see the issue for the easement reconsidered until it matches the master plan from 2007. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to speak against this ordinance? Just state your name.
Thank you, Council, Mayor. My name is Brent Cosolino. I've been a lifetime resident of Pueblo, Colorado, business owner as well. I have been a member of the Sky Corral RC Club for over 40 years. I was introduced to this club by a dear friend and mentor at the impressionable age of 14. This club consisted of many older gentlemen that all played a part in my growth, not only in the joys of building and flying model airplanes, but the importance of belonging, respect, discipline, teamwork, just to name a few. I introduced my son, Zach Cosolino, who's present tonight, to the hobby at a very young age. He was able to solo at the age of 7. I'm very proud of him as a 24-year-old adult and proud citizen of Pueblo. He was raised at this field and mentored much the same way. Zach and I currently participate in RC events throughout the country. We attend large national competitions in Lakeland, Florida, Phoenix, Arizona, and Denver. These events draw over 100 to 150 pilots and family members from all over the United States. They stay in hotels, campgrounds, they frequent restaurants, they rent large tents from local companies. The model fields up north of us, Arvada, Chatfield, and Fort Collins, are all experiencing an encroachment issue by housing development. They are landlocked, and I think that their future is uncertain. Zach and I have developed lots of contacts up north. We can envision hosting these events right here in Pueblo. The Pueblo Honor Farm property can accommodate it. That's what this open space is set aside for. But our field must comply with safety regulations, and it must be able to accommodate that large of an event. We fly giant-scale, propeller-driven, and jet turbine-powered airplanes. They have 10-foot wingspans and weigh upwards of 55 pounds. They are impressive, but they're not toys. They need to be flown in a safe manner and at a facility that adheres to safety guidelines set forth by our national organization, the Academy of Model Aeronautics. Our chartered field has been in good standing and compliance for 50-plus years until now. So I stand here tonight in opposition of this easement until Sky Corral Model Airplane Field can be made whole. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to speak against this ordinance?
Good evening, council. That's my dad. My name is Zach Cozzolino. I've been a resident of Pueblo, as he said, for all my life, and a member of Sky Corral since the age of 5. It's been an instrumental contributor to many of accomplishments in my life. Some of these accomplishments include a 2017 state championship run in football with Pueblo South High School as a quarterback. Helped me to continue my football career to the college level at CSU Pueblo. Several of my coaches attributed some of my athletic success to model aviation and the demanding eye-hand coordination and split-second decision-making that flying these high-performance machines take. This was also outlined in a Pueblo Chieftain newspaper article. The hobby has given me an immense advantage also in my professional career as a commercial project manager in the construction industry, and helped me to graduate the Civil Engineering Technology program with a bachelor's in science degree in construction management with a gold cord. Model aviation has also allowed me to travel the country to many places, as my dad mentioned, Arizona and Florida, to complete large sanctioned events with hundreds of pilots and attendees. One of these events, my dad and I took second place in the team category in an event called Top Gun, which was hosted in Lakeland, Florida. This was amongst competitors from all over the country, along with numerous participants from overseas. One thing I'd like to mention is that all of these events we attend have venues that are something in common, and that is an adequate flying site that adheres to the Academy of Model Aeronautics guidelines for field safety. That's our governing body. The AMA is an organization of over 165,000 members strong and takes safety to all of the members, spectators, and surrounding environments very seriously. As mentioned previously, the aircraft flown at these events and in practice for these events are large and capable of flying over 150 miles an hour. With these capabilities, they're flown regularly at Sky Corral. They cover the distances between our existing runways and the new Medal of Honor Highway within a matter of seconds. I think this possesses a great danger for motorists traveling down the new highway, and I think we can all agree it's ultimately a recipe for disaster and poses a large liability for all parties at hand. Therefore, I stand in opposition tonight to the current draft of the easement until Sky Corral RC Club is made whole with a field that is adequate to safe to fly from. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to speak against this ordinance? See? Okay.
Can I speak for it?
What?
Can I speak for it? For the ordinance?
For it? Sure, I'll allow that.
Thank you.
State your name.
Hi there, my name is Michelle Pulin, and I represent Siete Incorporated,
the heavy civil construction company that was awarded the Medal of Honor project. I appreciate your time this evening, Mayor and members of the council. Siete Incorporated is incredibly proud to be the Pueblo County contractor that was selected for this project. We are all Pueblo residents. We're very proud to be Pueblo residents, and we want to see this project move forward. Baxter and Brianna Kirkland, Pueblo County residents, are incredibly generous, and they want to see this project move forward. It's time to move it forward. We have heard rumors that relocating the runways will cost $400,000. We believe we can do this for $200,000. So we'd like to put that offer on the table, that Siete Incorporated will do the project for $200,000 on city land. Baxter and Brianna Kirkland will donate $100,000 of that $200,000. It's time to move this forward. As was stated by the county, further delays will add to the cost. I've been a Pueblo resident my entire life, and I know several folks in here have as well. It's time that there's an additional connection point between Pueblo and Pueblo West. It's time for the economic growth it's time for this project to get started. So thank you for your time, and please consider the offer that Siete Incorporated is putting on the table tonight.
Thank you. Is there anyone wishing to speak against this ordinance?
That one's kind of hard to follow. That's a pretty good offer. But, so I guess I need to speak here and get on the record.
And please state your name.
Yeah, Caleb Spear, South High School, because that's what we all talk about in Pueblo. I also went to Colorado College. With this father-son trend, my son Anatoly back here a few years ago started asking about aviation, and we ended up at the RC Sky Corral. It was an absolutely wonderful place to be with a lovely group of people. And as a father of two teenage boys right now, I think I'm at this point where I'm both looking back and looking forward. And looking backwards, there's a lot of conversation about what do we do with the youth of the United States, but the youth of Pueblo, what does STEM education look like? What do those opportunities look like for kids to grow into and explore things that they might be interested in? How do we keep them off the streets? How do we keep them out of houses and catching things on fire? And how do we get them engaged with things that are productive for their future? On the other hand, I'm looking at career opportunities into the future for young men and women. And when I look at the opportunities afforded to Toli, many of these, mostly men, I wish there were more women, but many of these men behind us have been an absolutely incredible source for Anatoly, mentoring him through all of the electronics. You've heard about the complexity of these machines, and so we're looking at aviation, we're looking at physics, we're looking at weather patterns, we're looking at electronics and receivers and all of these things that tie into STEM education, looking backwards, but then also looking forwards. There's a whole lot of conversation about what sort of jobs will we provide kids going forward, what sort of community colleges and colleges can prepare students for the workforce. And there's a huge need in the aviation community, both remotely piloted and physically piloted airplanes and drone aircraft. And in the past 2 years that Toli has been involved, I can look over my shoulder and see, he hasn't fallen asleep yet. I see his flight instructor who's been teaching him. Anatoly just soloed a glider as part of a program up in Colorado Springs. All of this was from his experience at Sky Corral. So he's about to get his glider license. He's well on his way to getting his pilot's license with a well-established commercial aviator behind us. And then is coming around the corner on his commercial drone license, being able to fly. So anyway, from our perspective, Sky Corral has been absolutely wonderful in terms of young people and STEM education, and I think it's underutilized by the city of Pueblo as it is right now. But then also looking forward into careers that pay well, that are excellent places to be for young men and women, and I think that Sky Corral does and can do a great job launching kids into that. So anyway, with an extra $200,000 on the table, I mean, I'm no mathematician, but that sounds like a good deal to me.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to speak against this ordinance? Seeing none? Yeah, okay. Please just state your name.
Emily Spear. That was my husband speaking. He's far more articulate than I am, but I just wanted to put up a personal memo there that we joined the Sky Corral 2 years, 2 months ago, and ever since that time, I've showed up regularly for a couple hours every single week or more, sometimes multiple times a week, with this collective group of members. And when I look at what Brent was saying with his son and the way that they had passed that on from generation to generation, and Zach was talking about all of his mentors and the people there that kind of helped spur his future and the different accomplishments he's made. I wanted to speak for the group of members and people in this club how valuable it is to Pueblo and how valuable it is to the state of Colorado and even our nation. I think it's incredible to have this mentor opportunity that's not politically charged, it's not economically charged, it's not religiously charged. It's a group of people who are coming, not just a group of people, it's generations coming together to share knowledge from person to person. It's not on the internet. When a problem arises and a plane crashes, an issue happens, people aren't pulling out their cell phones and their computers and searching the web. It's problem solving using our hearts and our minds and our knowledge and passing that knowledge and that wisdom on from person to person. And I think it's important that we maintain that form of communication and that form of education in our country. So I find it incredibly valuable, the club, the assets the club has, and I do think it's underutilized and undervalued. And I understand that people look at this and think, an RC airplane club, it feels small and minimal, but I think it's huge. I think it's really important, and I think you guys need to value where you're going to put, the new field and make sure that it has the proper parameters, the proper space, and that we can use that for the future of kids in Pueblo and for future generations. So, thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to speak against this ordinance? Come on down. Thanks for coming.
Good evening. Thank you for your time. My name is Phil Brown. I'm a lifelong resident of Pueblo, graduate of South High, Yahoo, a long time ago. And I got into the hobby in the early 80s at that time, and then I got out for a few years. My kids were growing up, ran out of time, ran out of money. And I started again here about 3 years ago, and you couldn't be with a better bunch of guys. And I want to say a couple of things. First of all, collectively, there's 50, 60 of us in this group. We have huge capital investments in these machines. I don't know what the total value is, but it must be $500,000. Other than car racing, street rods, and things like that, these are very capital-intensive machines. We need to have a place to fly. All of us have flown here for years and years with the understanding that the field would be provided for. It's in the master plan, and we need to adhere to that master plan. The other thing I'd like to point out is the economic impact. Memorial Day weekend, there was a big event that we hosted. There were people from all over the southern part of this country that came to fly. One gentleman came from Denver. He flew down in his plane, parked his plane out at the airport, hangared the plane, spent time in meals and restaurants, brought his entourage of people, and we had several $100,000 worth of aircraft that weekend in Pueblo flying. These aren't toys. These aren't toys. The other thing I'd caution is haste makes waste. What you don't want to have happen is, hell, let's just put the road where we think it should go and forget about this field, because I don't want to hear an ad in the TV 3 years from now. My family was injured by a radio-controlled aircraft that hit our car, and we called the law office of We Cheatham and Howe, and we got $1.8 million because it's going to be the city and the county that are going to get the checkbook out for that. because it wasn't planned right. We need to have an adequate field with enough distance to keep the public safe. So you have three choices. Don't build the road, move the field so it's far enough from the road that we don't interfere with each other, or move the field. I mean, it's pretty simple. You got three options. Move the field, move the road, or don't build the road. So that's my position. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it very much.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to speak against this ordinance? Seeing none, the hearing's closed. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Before we move forward, can I ask a parliamentary question here?
Sure.
To our deputy city attorney. Assuming that we take the offer from the county to sit down and work out an agreement, and then along with the gift from the general contractor, highway contractor, it's like somebody's watching over us tonight because we're going to have a meeting on Thursday. And the first question I have is, can we add this issue or move this issue to Thursday? If we properly, I think we have enough time to properly notice, along with the meeting of selecting another city council. So that's the first question I want to ask.
Yeah, I believe you could, as long as it's noticed properly, like you stated.
And it will be. I'm assuming that that's
Yes, since it's already been published as second reading, assuming that you properly motion to move it to that within this meeting, then it would be properly transferred.
So here's what I'd like to suggest. I would suggest that we take up the offer from the county,
Let us get through the motion first.
No, I'm still in my parliamentary questions to our attorney.
Okay.
We may not.
Sounds like you were making suggestions.
Yeah. The suggestion is that we move the decision on this to Thursday. And by the way, nobody in the city government, or even with your club, we're not saying that we don't want this very important road to be built. If you look at the history of what this city has done in cooperation
Mr. Flores,
with...
I really need you to either make a motion. This is part of the discussion.
We have to go through the process before you go on your mission. Is there a motion to approve the ordinance?
So you can also motion
Well,
to...
I'd like to...
Let's get through this. I'll handle it. Is there a motion to approve the ordinance?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second? We have a second by Councilor Gomez. Are there any councilor comments or questions or ideas? Okay, Councilor Flores.
Okay. It looks like what we have here is good timing, and the timing is this. We have the county that's willing to sit down with the city and come up with an agreement. We have a gift that the general highway contractor is willing to give. And so I think that we arrange a meeting for either tomorrow or Wednesday, hash this out, come back Thursday, and I think everybody could probably be happy getting all of this stuff wrapped up. And I think all of us want this road. We want this road to be built. Obviously, it's an important arterial, but not, we're not here to obstruct any of that. And I don't want to beat this dead horse anymore. I've met with Brian and with Cheryl over the last 2 years. It's not anything that the county didn't have a long time to consider. But I think the timing is just perfect. And I would like to suggest that we not deal with this issue tonight, and that we move this issue to Thursday, which is just 2 days away, and we set up a meeting with the county and hash out this agreement. I think we have all the pieces for a solution, and let's take advantage of it.
So, Councilor, are you making a motion?
That there is no, giving us another 3 days is not going to create any kind of problem for the county.
Councilor, you're going to make a motion?
Whatever I said, I move that we
to
move
amend
the decision on this to Thursday.
So you move to amend the motion currently on the table to
No, I'm just moving, I am moving this ordinance for decision on Thursday.
To continue this to Thursday.
To Thursday.
Does he need a second on this?
Yes, he needs.
I'll
second
it. Hold on one
You
second.
haven't given us you haven't even given us a definite date for Thursday.
It's very true. We haven't even confirmed that we are able to have the meeting on
Yeah.
Thursday.
Where's our attorney?
I don't think it's a legal question. I think it's more, is the room even available on Thursday, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
And we don't
Legally,
have a
we
way of
can have that
determining that
meeting.
tonight.
It's just whether or not there's room or space to have the meeting.
There's got to be room on Thursday, whether it's at a different time or.
So the question is whether we could even have the room for Thursday? So city council chambers wouldn't be available to city council on Thursday because there's some things going on?
There are other previously noticed meetings that do happen in this room, such as the marijuana board, the liquor board meetings, the planning and zoning commission.
Yeah.
All of those happen and are regularly noticed and happen in this room.
Is that the only day? Is Wednesday available? And would that,
I don't
There's
have
not
a
enough
calendar. The mayor's office is not working. We wouldn't know tonight.
Can I make a suggestion here?
Yes.
Can't we move the other meeting? I mean, we're the city council folks. We're trying to give an answer to these people that are here, and we need to support them. I think city council comes before any other committee meeting. I'm sorry to say it in that fashion, but that's how I feel.
Mayor Graham, did you have something you wanted to add?
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, you all sit on the boards that meet in this room. Is there a meeting on Thursday night? Because I don't think that we meet the first week of the month, correct?
I don't believe
Correct me
so.
if I'm wrong. Liquor's on Wednesdays. P&Z is on Wednesdays. I don't think that there's anything that's in here.
Okay. So we have a motion, we have a second. Let's have discussion. Councilor Meister?
Let's take the emotion out of this subject. The planning of this road came about, and we have taxpayer dollars and a taxpayer asset. Not a Sky Corral asset, but a taxpayer asset. And I understand your need for wanting a new airfield in replace. But we should not be holding up tonight's vote. We should allow the county to move forward because it's not a part of the negotiation tool. It's not on the table to be negotiated how we move forward for Sky Corral. Like I said, this is a taxpayer asset and taxpayer dollars at risk. And the change orders can be very substantial. The use of the airfield is a privilege to your club. You're a private club. We have parks and ball fields in this town that are just not usable for a little soccer team over on the west side because it's not being properly maintained. There are a lot of sacrifices in this community for a lot of residents. We have a park space on the north side that's not even been developed. So I think that I'm not saying that you don't have a right to come forward and ask for things, but I don't think that this project should be held up for any reason. I think we should just make a commitment that we're going to meet at the table. And we continue by approving this project so that the county could move forward. Because I'm going to tell you, if you're not going to get an airfield, I doubt if we're going to spend taxpayer dollars to redesign the road, or we're not going to not build the road because of your private club. So why can't we just move forward with what the county needs to do to move forward? The contractors got a great, give for your. But we also now we're looking at a public funded project to put a new road in, and that goes along with the competitive bidding process, unless they're willing to do it all for nothing. So there's a lot of factors involved that can take more than just a Thursday to handle. So you would have to. We should not be holding up the road for any reason, because you can't Are you really gonna leverage that? Are you gonna try to leverage the road for the club? And I'm not saying that the club isn't an asset to this community. What I'm saying, it's still a private club. And these are taxpayer-owned assets and taxpayer funds that are involved here. And so why don't we just make the commitment that we get our road taken care of, move forward with that, and then address this off to the side? But to stop it is, if you think stopping it is gonna get it not built and the airfield is gonna come first, then I don't think that can happen. We wouldn't be.
Ma'am, you're out of order. You can't, don't yell at us.
Yeah. Well, we know our responsibility to the taxpayer up here at the dais. And so that's what we're trying to handle, because it's not gonna look good to hold up a multi-million-dollar project, tens of million-dollar project to over a private club. That's just how it works. That's how it works.
Well, I don't, I'm gonna jump in there and say that if you do take the emotion out of it and you take out the Sky Corral, this is literally city property, a city asset that is being minimized by this easement. So my big deal isn't so much with whether Sky Corral rents that space or somebody else rents that space. My big deal is I believe that the city taxpayers are being damaged by the easement, because if we did nothing, it would cost us at least $400,000 to move a runway to keep that same asset. Mm-hmm. As I said 2 weeks ago, I have no idea why in 2.5 years the city and the county hasn't negotiated a feasible, doable deal to make the city whole on our asset. And I don't think you can make a decision tonight based on somebody saying they're going to give you $100,000 or somebody else saying they're going to be willing to negotiate. Once you take away the fact that we need to be made whole on our asset, then you lose all negotiation powers. All people are going to do is say, well, we're going to negotiate, we're going to sit down with you, but what are you coming to the table with? I don't think 2 days is going to be the end of the world. That's just my take on it. Councilor Gomez?
Yeah, I'm going to defer to Councilor Flores, who's worked on this thing for 2.5 years, and he's met almost with everybody I can think of in Pueblo. And it's interesting to me that, we're not seeing the value of this is to young people, to middle-aged people, to pilots that retire and still want to fly. I mean, that's some of the stuff that we don't talk about. But I'm going to defer to, I think the offer of meeting on Thursday is a good one.
So can I?
Councilor Flores?
I just wanted to say is that, these constituents, ask for my help. Mm-hmm. I'm sitting here representing the city, okay? And the city owns that asset. And whether or not, if one of our city buses runs into a county truck, we would have to reimburse the county for the damage to that truck, no matter what happens. This is no different in my mind. And so I'm looking at a situation of helping the constituents that asked me to help, who I represent. I feel that waiting until Thursday to make the decision, everybody wins on Thursday. If all these pieces, and it sounds like we have all the makings of putting this together, and I still don't see, does it look like we're going to be able to have the chambers for Thursday?
Yeah, I think so.
And I would suggest that we always have a calendar available so that we're not guessing. Don't we have a calendar that we could be looking at right now? That's number one. But in this particular case, I'm ready to sit down with the GC with the county, and let's just hash it out. And I think that waiting until Thursday is not a big deal. That's a lucky break that we got as far as being able to meet that quickly. And we can decide on Thursday night, and it's, and I'm taking, the taxpayers, into consideration here. How many of you are from the county, that live in the county? Pueblo West is part of the county.
Yeah.
Okay, there you have it. That's almost half. And so, not only are you taxpayers paying city tax, but you also pay county tax. So that's my proposal. We meet at 5:30 on Thursday, and you can make arrangements to meet either tomorrow. I'm available tomorrow. I'm available Wednesday. And
Well, let's get through this motion. Councilor Maestri.
Just one last question. Mr. Hayes? They mentioned rent. How much rent do we get from the Sky Corral Club?
The permit agreement is a no-fee use of the site.
Thank you.
Can I ask him a question too? What kind of fee do we charge people to play on our baseball fields, or go to our city park, or go to any of the? This is an amenity that belongs to the city of Pueblo. It's no different than any other amenity that we have that's free of charge, and we have many.
Councilor Martinez.
It sounds like we're making a plan up here, county friends. Sabina, can you come back and speak a little bit about the plan that the motion that we have on the table? Would that work? So I guess first of all, Sabina, you've heard the testimony of everyone that came to speak tonight. Do you first have a response? And second, what do you think about?
Well, Counselor, I don't think we can go down that road, because then we'll have to ask everybody who listens to her if they have a response to what she says. She just testified in support of the ordinance. She didn't testify as staff.
They don't get a rebuttal? They don't get a rebuttal?
No, nobody gets a rebuttal on a public hearing.
Would the timeline work for the county?
Thank you, Councilwoman Martinez. I believe it can. I will need to confirm availability. This is very quick, which is great, but I will need to confirm the calendar, and I can certainly respond back to the mayor's office or council.
Okay.
Yes. And for the record, I hope it was apparent that I was testifying, or I was speaking on behalf of Pueblo County government, and not on my own personal opinion.
Correct.
Okay.
But we understand.
Okay.
We knew
Just
what you were
wanted to make
doing.
sure that was clear. Thank you.
Councilor Martinez, any more? No? Okay, we have a motion. We have a motion to take this to Thursday. We have a second on that motion. Let's call for the action. Passes 5-1, and we'll move it till Thursday.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk.